Welcome to our live Q&A. I'm Tracy Matson. I'm a certified professional dog trainer and certified behavior consultant, canine. And I am just getting over bronchitis, so hopefully I won't cough. I have my water, my cough drops, and so we should be good to go. Um, so I'm excited to do this. How did everybody's Halloween go? Did everybody survive Halloween with their dogs? Um, and we did. We didn't have trick or treaters. They do the trick or trunk now at the church or the school or something. And since I don't have kids, I don't go to that. So I was going to go to a client's house, and we were going to pass out candy at her house and watch a movie. And I was sick, and since she is her immune system is compromised, I didn't want to go get her sick. Hey, Nicole, how's all your stuff going? Okay, let's see. Facebook user, if you want to give me your name and where you're from, I will enter you into the drawing, and then I will also answer your question. Just to let people know, if you're new, sometimes it just comes through as Facebook user, so I don't have a name. If you want to be entered into the drawing to win a free bag of training treats, oh, here comes my dogs. They heard the bag. Then I just need your name, where you're from, like state or country, and then I can enter you into the drawing. So you guys can have some later. I actually just gave them one right before we started. Moose was in a costume. I don't have any contest, and I walked Wilma down Main Street. Oh, nice. I actually love Halloween, but with 3 dogs, I didn't do the costume thing, and plus I was sick. So, okay, Amy. And Amy, where are you from? I'm just gonna hide her. Okay. So Nicole, what did Moose go as? And did Moose win? The other trainer that works with me, she always dresses up like all of her dogs. And Cleveland, awesome. And they were all characters that I didn't know. So I guess I need to watch more. I think they're all like animated stuff, and I don't really like that animated stuff. But I'll tell you what, being sick for 8 days, I watched more Netflix, and I got so sick of binge watching series and reality TV that I was really glad to get back to work yesterday. Okay, so Amy, this is how I do recall. First of all, I have a rule that I don't use the word come unless I am 100% sure that the dog's going to do it. So even with my dog Jade, who I've had for like 3 years now, and her recall is pretty good, but it depends on the situation we're in. So I used to have an office uptown, and when we would leave, I'd open the door and she would bolt for, behind the building, because that's where all of the dogs poop and pee. And so it's like, a dog's smorgasbord of smells. And so when she would be back there sniffing, I could guarantee that she's not going to come when I call her. So when it was time to go, I would say, hey, let's go over here. I'm going to leave you. And then I got to the point where I just got in the car and drove down, and then I opened the door, and then she would come and run and jump in. And if we're hiking, she is going to be sniffing so much that she is like, it's in the zone, and she can't. I mean, she eventually comes back, but I just know she's not going to come right back. So I don't use the C word. because every time you say to your dog, every time you say come, and then they don't do it and get rewarded or reinforced, they learn to ignore you. And if you think about it, they're usually doing something else that they like, such as sniffing or playing, or they're distracted by something. So they're actually getting rewarded for ignoring you, because they're doing something else. So I always teach this on leash. And then, like, if I'm going to go on a hike, or let's say I don't have time to go grab Jade in, behind the building, I'll just leash him. So when we hike, a lot of times we got two people from Ohio. So if we're hiking, I will put a long line on her. So she'll be on a 20-foot line. She can still run around, sniff, and explore. And then I'll take some high value treats with me, and then I will call her. And if she doesn't come, then I will start to reel her in, and make it really fun and exciting. So I'll say, like, she's right here, so I don't want to do it, but I'll say, like, Jade, COME. And then as soon as she turns towards me, I click, because I use a clicker, or you can say yes, and then, oh, let's go, good girl. And you want to make it super fun and exciting, because the secret is to make yourself more exciting than anything else in your dog's environment, which can be hard depending on your dog's environment. So, so I do that, and then I start on a 6-foot leash, and then I will do a 15-foot leash, and then a 20, and then sometimes I'll let him drag a leash to give him a little bit more freedom. But then if I need to, like, run and pick up the leash, reel them in, then I do that. And then I will practice in a like a fenced-in tennis court or pickleball court, or even you could do a dog park if there's no other dogs. The problem with that is there's going to be so many smells. I wouldn't do it in there. I would let your dog drag at least a leash in there, depending on, like, what smells and stuff are going on and how big it is. So I start in a low environment, and the way I start it is I have the dog on a leash, and I'll throw a treat away from me, and the dog will go get it. And as soon as they turn back towards me, because I have treats, then I click, and offer the treat. And I always offer the treat, like, right on my thigh. Like, my hand will be like this with the treat on my thigh, because I want the dog to learn to come back all the way back to me. And then when they come and get the treat, then I'll throw a treat out the other way. So what the dog's learning is, oh, I come, I get a treat, and then I get to go sniff again, or I get to go get another treat. So we just play this game of, I'm going to send you out, you get the treat, and as soon as you orient back towards me, I click, come get the treat. If your dog doesn't orient back towards you, then you can kind of reel them in, or, make kissing noises or something else. Then when your dog is getting that down really good, then when they turn to orient towards you, then I'll say, like, Rover, come. And then, click when they do, treat. So you can start to add the C word in. And then I'll start to maybe toss items out away. So, like, I'll toss a ball, or I'll toss something just out of reach, and then ask the dog to come. And that way I still have the dog online. So if the dog chooses to, like, run after something, then I can help them. And you don't want to yank them, but just, like, start to walk backwards, reel them in. And if when you reel him in, he wants to play tug, I would let him see that you have, like, a ball or a treat or something else. You could even use, if your dog likes to play tug, you could even have as a reward a tug toy. So it's like, Rover, come. And then he starts to turn. Or if he doesn't, you start to reel. And then, yes, oh, good job. And then reel your dog in, or like show him that you have a toy. Or you could raise the value of your treats. Because if your dog doesn't want to come and get treats, then they probably need to be better. So, like when I do recall with my dogs, I use bacon. And I do that because I'm vegetarian, so we don't have bacon here. So it's not something they get all the time, but when they do get it, they love it. So when I go out to eat, I'll just get a side of bacon in a box, and we play the recall game. But I also have that with me, like when we go hiking. So two things. I do have the dog on a long line. If she comes back to me on her own to check in, I will reward her with bacon, just so she knows, like, oh, mom has bacon. So she's going to come back and check in with me a lot. And then when she's out running around and sniffing, then I'll call her, bring her back. She'll get a piece of bacon, and then I'll say, okay, go sniff. So you don't ever want it to be negative when you call your dog. So if you have to do something like crate them, give them a bath, clip their nails, or just do something that they're not necessarily going to love, then it's better just to go get them, because we don't ever want come to be associated with anything negative. So the other thing is, if your dog wants to play tug, you can, sometimes I act like a maniac, because I will just be like, oh, good dog, let's go, let's go, let's go. And the dogs are looking at me like, oh my gosh, there's a party over there. So you can't be afraid to like sound crazy, but that's what's going to get your dog's attention. And then they're going to want to come to you, because that's where all the fun is happening. And then you can reward them and send them on their way. So hopefully that helps. Amy, if you want to email me, I'm going to put my email in the chat. I have a handout on teaching recall. If you want to email me and ask me for that. Oh yeah, crazy's easy for me too. If you want to email me, I'll send you my handout. So it basically goes through the same steps, but it's like written down. So sometimes I'll even do the hand targeting game. So I'll ask, a dog to like touch. They come and touch. I treat, and then I send them away. So they learn that coming to you, it's not like, oh, I don't want to come right now. But instead, it's like, oh, I come and touch their hand, and then I get rewarded. So it kind of gives them a job. And I've had that work really well, and some of my clients have done that a lot, and it's worked out really well too. So you could do that. The recall game. Start with just the orienting, where you just toss a treat and wait for them to just orient back towards you, and then you click and treat. And then you can start using longer and longer leashes so that your dog can have more freedom as you're doing it. Okay. Let me go back. Oh, he was Mickey Mouse. We won Best Couples Costume. Cool, but there was only 2 of us there. Well, that's a good way to win. That's probably the only way I'd ever win. Wilma didn't pass her CGC this time, not wanting her ears examined, huh? Did she have an issue last time with her ears being examined? Because sometimes it kind of, sometimes dogs can just have bad days, or, like maybe their ears don't feel great. It's up, go up 1, 2, 3. It says host, and it says Tracy at Pupford.com. It's Tracy with an I at Pupford.com. So Nicole, I would just practice a lot with touching her ears, reward. Touching her ears, reward. And then maybe having people that she doesn't know touch her ears, and then you can reward her. I know that through the CGC you can't reward till the end. But like I had a dog that loved other people, and the first time we did the CGC, he backed out of a hug. And so they failed him. But it was just because there was something else going on behind him. And so he was backing out to see what was going on. And I'm an evaluator for CGC and for Therapy Dog Place. And I had a dog when I not me personally, but I was testing the dog. And when I went to do the hug, the dog like ran around and hid behind his owner. So I didn't pass him because I couldn't. And so yeah, they're pretty strict on stuff. So yeah, I would just work on handling. Also, so what did woman do when they touched her ears? Like I'm assuming she didn't try to bite, but did she just like move away? Like what did she do? Oh, Kirsten. Hi, Kirsten. Okay. Let's see. Nicole, on the test, no, but I remember she was a little nervous the first class. I forgot about that. The trainer who did it last time moved to a new job, so this was a new person. And she ducked her head. Yeah. So if you can get people to, like go to a home or go to a Petco and ask staff, just say, hey, we're trying to get our CGC. Can you help us? Just pet her and then just handle her ears. And then make sure that she knows that she can back away if she wants to. So give her the opportunity to back away. But if they do handle and she's okay with it, then make sure you reward her for it. So, yeah. And then at home, you could do a little bit of cooperative care, low stress handling, which, is we teach them a start and a stop cue. So, for example, it's more involved. This is the short answer, but you can teach them to like stand on a frisbee or look at a cup of treats, and that means go. And then you can start to like touch them. And if they look away or if they step off of something, then that means stop. And then if they go back to, I've seen some do it with a chin rest. So as long as they're doing the go, which could be looking at a cup of treats, chin rest, stepping on a bucket or something, that means go, and then you can start to handle. But then if the no is like they look away, they get off, they lift up their head, something like that. So when dogs know that they have a choice and that they can move away if they're not comfortable, then a lot of times they're more apt to do it because they know that if it's too much, they can back away. But you could actually start doing some of that with her and then asking strangers to do it with her. Just like I would start with, hey, Jade, come here. So let me show you. This is how I would start is, oh, my book's in the way. So I would start with just petting and then just like, just barely like touch her ear. Sorry, everything's in the way. So like pet her, touch her ear, treat. She's like, yeah, I'm going to go back and lay down. So just kind of pet, touch her ear, reward. And then you can get a little bit more involved in the touching and stuff if you want to. Because I probably depends on who the evaluator is. Some just barely touch them and some will really do a lot of touching. So, but yeah, I'm sorry that you didn't pass, but you'll get it the next time. I think we passed by the skin of our teeth because we Jade is a jumper and she loves to jump up and say hi. So when we took our test, this was the therapy dog test, which is really similar to the CGC. She jumped up to say hi to somebody, but that's the only one we missed. So then at the end, we were able to just take that one again. And the second time, she didn't jump up, so we passed. But with her, it's like 50-50. Sometimes she'll stay on 4 feet, and sometimes she'll jump up. So it's still a work in progress. Hey, Willow. Okay. Let's see. Okay. We do some cooperative care here, which she does well for me looking at her ears. However, other than the vet, our last CGC trainer has been the only one who looked at her ears. Yeah. So a lot of dogs don't really like their ears touched. So I would just keep doing what you're doing, and then having other people do it. Hopefully the next time you do the test, the same evaluator will be there that Wilma has already met once. But I'm trying to think if that's the only time Wilma has met her. I don't know if like a second time around she will be any more comfortable. It's hard to say. But okay, let's see. We go back. Willow, I'm going back to positive-based reinforcement, and I'm currently paying for Susan Garrett's recolors course. Awesome. So what were you doing? I thought you were always doing like positive reinforcement stuff. So what other thing were you doing? I think Susan Garrett's, I've looked her up before, and I think her stuff is really good. And I think she also has a podcast that's good that I've listened to a few times. So yeah, I don't think you can go wrong there. So Nicole, I had a dog that would not tolerate eardrops, and if he saw me coming with eardrops, he would start to bite. So yeah, I had one that was terrified of being handled. Okay. Oh, the collar grab game. Yeah, I kind of incorporate that with my recall now. So we do it in puppy class so that dogs get used to their collar being grabbed. So when the dog comes up to get the treat, we just kind of grab the collar and then let go. So just so that they learn that when they come up, we're gonna like just grab their collar to leash them, so that they don't want to play the chase game. But again, if a dog is scared and kind of pulls away from it, like we let go because we don't want them to feel trapped or anything like that. Oh, you were doing balance training. How come I didn't know that? I would have talked to you before about switching over. I actually used to be a balanced trainer before. Back at that time, I didn't really know what it was called, but when I did search and rescue stuff, we did some punishment-based stuff. So I'm very glad that I learned this method because it's so much better. And I'm reading a new book, which is so good. I'm kind of a nerd, and oh, you have an e-collar and prong. Yeah, I would throw those away. So I'm reading a new book right now, and it's called Do No Harm. Um, I'd have to go grab my iPad to give you the full name of it, but it is so good. And it talks about the like humane hierarchy with dogs, and it talks about there are like, people with PhDs and veterinarians and veterinary behaviorists that are, in the book, and saying that there is like literally almost no time that using like a shock collar or punishment is ever called for in a dog. So I know a couple people that have used it occasionally if it means that it's going to save the dog's life. But yeah, you're going to be so much better off not using that. I know, like when I started working at the rescue, they used to use slip leads a lot, and prong collars. And so I got all the dogs freedom harnesses so that we could walk them on our freedom harness, because I came and I was watching all these really strong like pit bulls and other really strong dogs like pulling staff and pulling volunteers, and they were choking. So I just thought, okay, well, the prong is obviously not working and I don't like them anyway, so let's just teach them how to walk on leash and let's put them on a freedom harness. So yeah, Willow, you will be much, much better off. I used to keep a prong collar around just so I could demonstrate, like, even if you don't, I'd put it on people's arms and say, like, even if you don't do it very tight, it'll still leave marks. So if a dog is pulling, you can imagine what it's doing, even if it's dogs that have a lot of, fur right there. So, and I don't know what a pager. Mine doesn't have a shock on it, just a pager and boost and nick. I don't know what that is. But I'll tell you something interesting that I learned at a workshop. The learner is the one that gets to decide what is reinforcing and what is punishing. So let's say that I ask a dog to come, and then I try to give them a milk bone, and then the next time I ask the dog to come, they're like, yeah, you only have milk bones and I don't really care about those, so I'm going to go off and continue doing what I want. So, but if I have bacon, my dogs are going to come running. Or beef jerky. That's the other thing that they love, is beef jerky. So if I ever decided to start eating meat again, those would be the two things that would get me to cross back over, would be bacon and beef jerky. The rest of the stuff, like, I don't really miss. So anyway, I lost my train of thought there for a second. So since the learner gets to decide what's reinforcing, so like some dogs aren't food motivated, but they love to play ball. So, you might be able to like offer them a treat and they don't want that, but you throw a ball for them. We had a dog like that in rescue that really didn't care about, he would work for treats, but he was so ball fanatic that he would come and sit and wait, and then we'd throw the ball. That would be his reward, is throw the ball. So that was really reinforcing for him. So when people say, well, I only use the buzz, or I only use the beep, to us it might be it's only a beep or only a vibrate. Maybe that's what you were trying to say. But to the learner, if that is scary or intimidating, then it's still aversive and it's still a punishment. So some dogs might be like, oh, it's a beep, whatever. But to some dogs, I've seen, people like beep them and they're like, oh my gosh, what's that? So again, we don't get to decide what's aversive and what's punishing. So the learner gets to decide. So just kind of keep that in mind. I had a client once that used to do that sound to their dog that is like chalkboard or fingernails on chalkboard to me. And so, in fact, I have somebody in my puppy class does that. And I said, I'm going to ask you in my class to not do that. It drives me crazy. It's like fingernails on a chalkboard. So anybody that does the in my class has to give me $1. And I ended up with $7 that night. And the reason I don't use that, the reason I don't like that is because, I will use an interrupter like, hey, and then I'll redirect. But I had a client once that did that. And I noticed her dog and I said, she goes, well, how can that be any different than an interruption? Or than saying, She goes, I'm just doing it to interrupt. And I said, okay, well, let's watch your dog. And she did it and her dog ears went back and her dog cowered. And I said, look what your dog just did. And then I said, hey, let's not do that. Let's come over here. And the dog was fine. So I said, do you see the difference in your dog's body language? When you make that sound, your dog becomes fearful and like backs away, tucks his tail. And she goes, oh my gosh, I never would have noticed that. So just that one sound, her dog found aversive. So it's just something about how the vowels or whatever. It's just something about that sound. So yeah, hopefully that makes sense for everybody. Nicole, on the color game, I also tried doing it while in awkward and off balance positions. Oh, that's good. Yeah. Nicole, I saw a video by a balance trainer, and what's ironic was they use e-collars in regular training, but they were saying that before taking an aggression case, they ask if they have been trained with an e-collar. They won't take the case. And they don't ever use them on aggressive dogs. Yeah, that is ironic because using e-collars and prong collars can actually make a dog aggressive. And you're not changing behavior, you're just shutting down behavior. I've actually talked to a couple of balance trainers who say, we don't ever use shock collars on like shy and fearful dogs or, with a dog that's fear reactive because, we don't want to shock a dog that's fearful. Well, a lot of behavioral issues stem from stress and anxiety. So it's cruel to shock a dog for being stressed or for being anxious. Because it stems from something. Sometimes it is, genetics or learning history or something like that, but it still usually comes from a place of stress, anxiety, fear. So it's just not okay to shock a dog for being reactive to something in a situation where they're unsure. So yeah, I find that ironic as well, but they kind of, I guess, have a way of justifying it. But yeah, I have worked many aggression cases where people have used an e-collar. And so I ask them, like, during the time that I'm working with you, I'm going to ask you not to use an e-collar or a prong collar, or a squirt bottle or like anything else like that, because it's just going to kind of get in the way of what we're doing. And then your dog's going to be confused because sometimes we're doing this positive stuff and then other times, the dog's getting punished. So I actually will ask people not to use that kind of stuff while we're doing our thing. Hey, Renee. Renee, you guys just had an anniversary. Was it anniversary? Because I posted something on your um Facebook page, I think. Okay, I might as well put Brian down too. Oh my gosh, I just forgot the abbreviation for Iowa. I just spelled it out. Let's see. The Hermspringer doesn't hurt. It's meant for the dog's safety. Anyway, I use jerky and stuff. I would get Pupford treats, but it's so expensive for shipping, taxes, etc. Yeah. Oh, hi, Brian. I already put you down. So yeah, you can use jerky. Like I'll get because I use Pupford treats so much in training, and I often use my dogs as demo dogs, and so if we're doing recall or something really special, or like we're out hiking and I want to really reward them for choosing to come back to me rather than going and chasing a squirrel, I will use something that they don't get all the time, like jerky, or something like that. So, yeah. Well, Willow, you just need to keep coming every week, and then you'll win a free bag, and then you can use that. Let's see. So, Willow, what are you talking about when you said the dog wasn't introduced to that properly? Are you talking about the beep or um the vibrate? So, Linda, yes. The reason that let me tell you why I don't like invisible fences, and it's a real problem up here. Oh, thank you, Kirsten. Iowa's IA. It's been a long time since I've been in school. So like Alaska, Arkansas, some of those I get mixed up. It's probably easier for me just to write them out. Oh yeah, the beep and the vibrate. So here's what I've seen with invisible fences is somebody will walk by and the dog will run out to say hi and not see a fence there and get shocked or beeped. And if the dog finds the beep or the vibrate or the shock aversive, then they can associate that with what's walking by. So then it's like, oh my gosh, I just went to say hi to this person or this dog, and I felt pain or I felt something uncomfortable. So dogs must be bad. People must be bad. Kids must be bad. Like, kid riding his bike, the dog runs out to say hi and gets shocked. The other problem too is some dogs will bolt through that if they want to get to something bad enough, and then they won't come back in. I also had a client that had a puppy, and there's a real problem in one of the surrounding areas that because there's so many homeowners, HOAs now that don't allow fences, so everybody's getting an electric fence. The problem is some dogs are bolting through them and then attacking other dogs. What was happening to this puppy is that other dogs were coming into his yard and attacking him, and he had like nowhere to go. But then he was starting to get a little dog aggressive because every time he was in his yard, like he couldn't go out or run away, but other dogs were coming in. So that's why I don't like them. I worked with, this was kind of in the beginning of my career. I worked with a retired couple that had a boxer, and this dog would bolt through the electric fence to attack another dog. I mean, it was a real problem. And so they ended up moving. So I didn't get to see this through to the end. But, in that case, I would not have wanted to be a person walking by with a stroller or another dog, because chances are that dog was going to bolt through the fence. So I actually told them it's not containing your dog, so I would not let your dog. I would keep your dog on a leash, on a long line, and not rely on the electric fence. So, yeah, I don't like them for that reason. Let's see. I only use the beep and vibrate on my dog when he does not recall when called into the house. He slips out the door. If a dog slips out the door, what I use is a baby gate. So I will put a baby gate up. Now my dogs they might go out onto the porch to say hi, but they'll come right back in. But when I had a dog that was a flight risk, I had a baby gate at the door, so I could open the door. I didn't have to worry about keeping the dogs back. They're not going to get out. So I do that. When a dog doesn't recall, it's either because they don't understand, or if they're like doing something else or distracted by sniffing or something, it's either that they don't understand or it's not reinforcing enough. So what you want to do is, when you call your dog back into the house, make sure that it's worth it for the dog to come back in. Because it's like, well, I'm going to escape through the front yard so I can go sniff and explore. And so if you call them back and they don't get rewarded for coming back, then next time they're going to be like, yeah, it wasn't really worth it, so I'm just going to go do this other thing. But if they come back in and they get a piece of jerky or bacon or something really good, or you have some treats that you can put in a snuffle mat and let them do some nose work there, then it's going to be more it's going to be more reinforcing for them to come back. Let's see, Linda. Oh, Linda, I didn't write you down. Linda, remind me where you're from. I know you've been on here before because I recognize your name, but I can't remember where you're from. Okay, ours is inside for the living room gates to protect the cats from the dogs scaling over the gates. Wisconsin. Okay. So, have you thought about putting two gates, one on top of each other? What's interesting is my dog Jade can jump a 5-foot fence out in the yard. And I have a couple baby gates, just so the cat can escape, and she will not jump the baby gate. I've never punished her for it. I've never even told her not to do it, but she's just never jumped it. She could, because, hey, Joan from Virginia. I know physically she could do it. She just never has. And so, I don't want her to know that she could actually physically jump it. But I know some people have done 2 gates on top of each other, so then the dogs can't scale the baby gate. My dogs get along with my cat, but if she moves fast, sometimes they'll chase her. They won't do anything to her. They won't hurt her or anything, but and sometimes I think she kind of antagonizes them. So, but she'll either jump into her condo or over the baby gate, and then then they just go do their own thing again. My dogs love the Bill Jack dog treats. Oh yeah, I've used those before too. They're good. You know what else I've used in the past is, oh shoot, I'm not gonna remember the name now. Ziwi. You can get them from Chewy. I'm sure you can get them on Amazon too, but it's actually dog food for small dogs. But they're soft, and so I break them in half. And even one piece is small, so you could use just one. But they go a long ways. I mean, it's like $40 for a bag, but that used to last me for like 2 months because I would break them in half, and so it would be like having a double bag. And they were really soft, so it's easy to break. So you could consider something like that too. I buy the Pupford treats in bulk, so that's all I use. The reason I like those, honestly, over the Ziwi is the Ziwi, it's soft, so like my hands get dirty, they get under my fingernails, and the Pupford ones are freeze dried, so they don't make your treat bag messy or your pocket, my hands, stuff like that. Willow, I can guarantee you that positive reinforcement will help with your dog's reactive behavior. The other thing that's going to help is make sure that you are doing some form of enrichment every day. So dogs, one of the freedoms that we want to give our dogs, there's freedom from pain, freedom from, like, I'd have to look up the 5 freedoms because I don't have them memorized, but we want to make sure that our dogs have access to food and water. And one of them is that the dog is able to do things that a dog would normally do if they were like free roaming dogs. So because we brought dogs in the house and domesticated them and we give them food in a bowl, they don't have the opportunity to like forage for food and things like that. So when we can do nose work and, like snuffle mat. Does everybody know what a snuffle mat is? My dogs are going to come running, but this is Jade's. I actually have it folded up. Oh, here she comes. So I put her food in and I just kind of ruffle it in and then I set it down and it takes her, now she went from like 10 to 15 seconds. You already had your dinner, sweetheart. She went from like 10 to 15 seconds to eat and now it takes her 9 minutes because even after she's found, like, so that they have to nose through all there and find the food or find the treats. And dogs are natural foragers. And they've actually done studies that have proven that when a dog is given a choice between getting their bowl for free or like just getting their food or working for their food, the dogs would rather work for it because that's like normal to them. So I would make sure that you're doing some kind of enrichment. So you can do a snuffle mat. You can do like any kind of nose work. So I'll save my Pupford boxes or Amazon boxes. Oh, have you tried getting? Do you have Amazon Prime? Because if you have Amazon Prime, you can buy Pupford treats from Amazon, and then I think you get free shipping. I've never gotten them from Amazon. I just get them right from Pupford, but so I don't know if they add tax. I'm sure they would add. Well, they're going to add tax anyway because they're in Utah. I'm in Utah. So I think they would add tax, but I think you would get free shipping if you do it with Amazon. Anyway, now I can't remember what I was talking about. Oh, enrichment. So I'll save my boxes and then I'll take a piece of cheese or hot dog and put it in one box out of 3. Bring the dog in and say, find it. And they'll go up to the boxes and sniff, and then they'll stop and they'll oh, what's that? And then I mark, like click, oh, good job, you found it. And then I open the box and they can have the treat. Then I will start to add more and more boxes. So then I'll get up to like having 8 boxes that they'll they'll choose from. So I will do that as well. And that way they're working their brain. Oh, they cost more on Amazon. Okay. So anyway, anytime you engage your dog's nose, it engages their brain. And it lets the dog do things that they would normally do. And then dogs that are able to do species specific behaviors every day are less likely to have behavioral problems. So, yes, I would definitely do the positive reinforcement and add in enrichment every day. You can even take your dog's food and throw it out in the lawn or the snow or whatever landscape you have and say, go hunt. And then your dog can go and sniff and work for their food. Now, I would be careful if you live in an area, like I just saw Brian's thing, that tick season is back. Or if you have like places prone to rattlesnakes, you want to be careful somewhat and do it in a safe way. But yeah, there's a lot of different ways that you can do nose work with your dog. So the Ziwi treats, I had never heard of them either. When I was in rescue, somebody told me about them, but it's actually dog food for small dogs, but they're small little square things, and they're really moist, so you can just break them in half. So they're actually not treats, but I used to get the beef liver or something like that. So, and I do remember that a small bag was like $40, but there's quite a few of them in there, and I could make a bag last 2 months. And that was with all the rescue dogs, like work, like all the dogs I had there, and then my own dogs and stuff like that. Okay. So I'm going to tell you, if there's no other questions, I'm going to tell you a personal story about the last time I used a shock collar. Because I will tell you, I was trained on them, and I was trained. Hi, what are you guys doing? I was trained on them, and I was trained to use them the right way. And also Willow, I'm just going through to make sure I got everybody. I don't know how you're using like the shock collar and stuff, but if your dog is reacting to something, like I'll just say it's another dog, and you use punishment, then your dog can associate that with whatever he's reacting to. And so then it can make it worse, because it's like, oh, whenever I see a dog, I feel pain or I feel uncomfortable. So we never want to use fear, intimidation, or pain to train a dog. The other thing is it just masks behavior. It doesn't change it. It just shuts it down and masks it. And then sometimes it can get worse. So think about like so let me give you a human example. I'm terrified of mice. I know I've told you guys all this before, but I'm terrified of mice. So let's say that every time I saw a mouse and screamed, that somebody hit me with a brick. Is that I may like not scream because I don't want to get hit with the brick, but is it going to change how I feel about the mouse? Instead, it's just going to shut me down, but it's not going to change my fear. It's not going to make me not afraid. So what we have to do using behavior modification is to change the dog's association. So if somebody gave me a $100 bill and a Diet Pepsi every time I saw a mouse, and they started with it 500 feet away, and I could look at it that far and not scream, they'd give me $100 and a Diet Pepsi. Then we slowly decrease the distance, and then I'm like, oh, okay, well, yeah, it's close, it's not doing anything, and hey, I get $100 and a Diet Pepsi every time I see this mouse. So that's kind of what we do with the behavior modification. And Willow, have you gone through the reactive dog course through Pupford? I know we're going to redo it, but it may help you too, because everything is in that course that you'll need. Let's see. I've got to collect my crap thing and write it down in my journal. Okay, Nicole, one thing I do is get a rotisserie chicken at the store and eat a meal from it and use the rest for treats. Oh, yeah, that's perfect. I also bought a dehydrator and cut up different meats for that. Oh, that's such a good idea. I don't cook. I don't even know how to dehydrate stuff. We have a smokehouse. I live at the base of the Uinta Mountains, and so like I can be on a trail with my dogs in 10 minutes. On the way up there, there's a smokehouse. It's a little store and stuff, and they smoke their own beef jerky. And back when I ate meat, I have to tell you, it is to die for. It's not like the stuff you get in the store. Like this is fresh, no additives, no preservatives. And you take the bag and stick it in the microwave for like 5 to 10 seconds and make it warm, and it like melts in your mouth. Like I said, that would make me like want to start eating meat again. So when we go hiking, I'll stop at that store sometimes and buy like 3 bags. And because we're going hiking, then I have the really, really good, treats that they don't get all the time and use that for recall. But that's a perfect That's a perfect idea, is to do the rotisserie chicken and then use some of that. Let's see. Willow, I'll get Pupford treats when my dog is done with heartworm treatment. Oh, yeah. Yeah, heartworm treatment is expensive, so I totally get why your money's tight. I have to take Maddie in once a month to get her blood checked. So we have to do a blood draw and check her CBCs every month. Brian, ticks are back on the trails. So don't ticks leave when it starts to get cold? Because I think we get ticks in spring and summer. But once things freeze, we don't have to really worry about them anymore. I do the heartworm medicine all year long just to be safe, but they usually here say start in March and go through October. But yeah, we had winter storm yesterday, like blizzard. So we have snow on the ground. It's been colder than crap. So yeah. Let's see, Nicole. For me, we are going to need to start with a fake mouse. Me too, probably. I bet if somebody put a fake mouse on the floor, I would still scream. I don't know what it is about them, but it's just because they're little and they run so fast and they're so destructive. So, ticks and fleas are not gone yet. Well, yeah, if it's in the 70s, guess what it is all week here? 20. It's like in the 20s here, because I was looking at the forecast for the week. So we are in the 20s. And yesterday we were in the teens. So, and the wind was blowing, which made it colder. And of course, I'm just getting over being sick, and I had to spend 3 hours outside yesterday. It is kind of warm in here though, so I'm going to turn my fan up. So yeah, today was a little bit better than yesterday. Wow, 75 and 80. Wow, you guys have it lucky. Ticks like cooler weather, not the hot summer. Because we have ticks more in the mountains here. Well, yeah, in the mountains, so it is cooler up in the mountains than like down in the cities and stuff, for sure. But we usually only have to worry about ticks in the spring and summer. So, oops. Okay, let's see. I have to use certain treats because a lot of the store-bought treats give my dogs diarrhea. Yeah, for sure. And it could be like all the preservatives and stuff that they put in them. Oh, Brian, you'll have to post how you make sweet potato jerky. That's interesting. Oh, Leo has a fake mouse and I mistook it for a real one and jumped. Oh, I would have jumped and screamed. You guys, I don't kill animals. I don't even eat animals. But like if a mouse, they're welcome to come and stay outside. But if they come in my house, it is fair game. I have traps. I have a cat. And I will suck them up with the shop vac because I do not. So I'll tell you what happened, and you guys are going to laugh. But I went in, and I had a basket of laundry, and I went to grab it to fold it, and 2 mice jumped out and ran away, and I thought I was going to lose I thought I was going to have a heart attack. I jumped and screamed and ran out and closed the door, and I wouldn't go back in. And so yeah, I had never, like, I knew in the winter sometimes I would see like mouse poop every once in a while, and I live out in the country, so everybody has them. But when they jumped out of my laundry basket, and then I saw one in my cupboard once, that was it. I called my neighbor. I wouldn't go to bed till he had killed all the mice, and then I got a cat, and not an exterminator type of guy, so he put like traps and stuff in. So it's like, yeah, if you come in my house, it's fair game. If you're outside, I won't kill you, but if you come inside, it's fair game. Let's see. Treats will get them over their fear. Just treat as you pass by. Yeah, exactly. Because so we do a thing called engage, disengage, or look at that. They're very similar, but what I do is I start at a distance, like whatever distance I need to be at for the dog to be able to just look at a dog and not bark. And then the dog will just like look at another dog. I click and treat. So 2 things are happening. I'm pairing the dog with treats, and I usually use Pupford salmon treats for this, because they're more stinky. Yes, I did rewash that load of laundry. In fact, a lot of it I threw away. I'm like, no, I'm just going to throw it away. So you are pairing the scary thing with treats, and then you're teaching your dog something else to do. So instead of barking or lunging or growling, just look at the dog, and then I'll reward you for that. And then eventually they'll look, and then they'll disengage and look at us. And it's so cool when you get to that. Sometimes it takes several months. Sometimes I've seen a dog do it in one session, where they'll look at a dog and then look at me, and then I click and treat. And then you can start working on decreasing the distance. So you want to start, if you're at a distance and your dog is lunging, barking, growling, then you're too close and you need to move farther away. So you always want to start where you're far enough away and start there. And then I do it like literally 1 step at a time. If people take 2 steps, I'm like, that's too much. Go back and just do 1 step. So it's a little bit more involved, but that's basically what you're doing. And Willow, if I haven't sent it to you before, email me, because I can send you the engage, disengage handout for sure. I'm waiting for my high velocity dryer since Gertie is blowing her coat. Yeah, my dogs are Well, I have one dog that sheds. I have to put salmon oil in his food because it's Willie. He's a little genetic nightmare, so he sheds year round. Linda, I would rather have a spider than a mouse. Spiders don't really bother me, but um, mice, it's no way. Let's see. So, what's a I mean, a mandolin to me is a musical instrument. So, is there a different? Is there a different kind of mandolin? Because you make like wood chips, put in oven at 225 for an hour, then flip and repeat. Um, yeah, that's cool. I don't know what a mandolin is though, other than an instrument. Okay, so what Willow says to use a tripod to rewatch your training sessions. That is so good because as a trainer, oh, it's a slicer. See, I don't spend much time in the kitchen, as you can tell. As a trainer, once COVID hit and a lot of us had to go to virtual, we started making videos of different things so that we could demonstrate them with a video. And it was so interesting to watch myself and be like, oh man, my timing is off right there, or I had to redo a lot of them. And so it can be scary, like videotaping yourself, because you always notice, like, but it's good. It's really good because it's going to help with your timing. You're actually going to be able to see. And even some videos that I haven't redone, when I show them to clients, I'll say, okay, my timing's a little off right here, or I'm a little slow. But just it's much easier to explain than actually do it and record yourself. But you will be a better trainer if you do it. Yeah, spiders are nice, but they scare me. I mean, I don't love them. We have black widows here. We have brown recluse. But I can get spiders out easier. But yeah, not mice. Okay, let's see. Yeah, I would prefer not to have spiders or mice. So one time I worked at a government agency for a while, and the guys brought in a brown recluse in a bottle, and it was that same time when I went to go out the back door and there was a web, and I noticed a spider, and I'm like, that is the same spider that they have that they kept in a bottle. And our boss was having a fit. He's like, get that thing out of here because they're poisonous. So I actually got a bottle, and got the spider in and took it to work so the other recluse could have a buddy. But they're not going to like live long in a bottle. Even though we put air in there for them, they're still not going to live. But those we don't release because they're poisonous and it's going to kill a dog or a person. So, okay, any other questions that we haven't talked about tonight? Now's your chance. Otherwise, we are going to do a drawing. And let me get these in my bowl so I can draw one. Okay. Let me just make sure that I got everybody's question. Willow, I'm not great at grooming either. I mean, my dogs have short hair, so really the most I have to do is bathe them and brush them. But they don't have like that undercoat and stuff, which is nice. I've had 2 dogs now that have had an undercoat, and it's so hard. Okay. Willow, email me And I'm going to send you the name of that book that I'm reading right now. I think it will really change your mind about, I know you're changing over, but it explains things a lot better than probably I explain them, and it's going to be just mind-blowing. It's going to open your mind to like so much new stuff, and she goes over different problem behaviors. And how to do it the science-based way. So I'm not done with the book yet, but already it's going to be a game changer. Like I'm going to be redoing my consult forms and everything. Okay. Willow, yes, I do have a handout for touch. And you can email me and I'll send that to you. Kirsten, what if there's no good cut evaluator? Are you talking about CGC evaluator? I think that you could do virtual. I think that they will let you do, you just have to show like a stranger coming. I'll have to look because I think if there's not a CGC evaluator in your area, I think you could do a virtual test. Yeah, CGC. Look up the AKC Canine Good Citizen, and I'm pretty sure they have a section in there that talks about if there's not one in your area, and I'm pretty sure that. Oh yeah, Nicole says you can do virtual, so yeah, you could still get it. Yes, I have a handout for touch. Email me and I'll send that to you. And well, I'm now teaching Jade to, instead of trying to jump up and lick my face when she can tell I'm getting a migraine, I'm trying to get her to target like my thigh or something, because it is not always convenient to have her trying to get on my lap and up to my face, which is her like natural instinct to do. So yeah, so I would do it to your hand first. And then what you can do is you can put like a Post-it note on your hand and have her target that, and then take the Post-it onto the container and then target the Post-it and then take it off and then just like point to the container and have her touch. Oh yeah, I would not drive 5 hours for a trainer. That is a long way. I would do virtual. Anytime over driving 5 hours. That's a long way just for a training session. That's like a whole day to drive down, have a training session, then drive back. Okay. Petco doesn't have the best pet treats versus my small dog store in the Des Moines area. So for small dog treats, you could, so I used to get the Ziwi treats from Chewy. And it's just ZIWI. So, and they'll ship them to you. Yes, I could do it for you because I'm an evaluator. That's dedication, Nicole. I can tell you, I would not do that. But yes, I can do it for you virtually. I'll have to look and see what the difference, like how we set it up, because one has to be a stranger and then you have to walk by a neutral dog that your dog doesn't know. So I'll just have to see how we set that up. But yes, I'd be happy to do it for you. Okay, so I've got these all in my bowl. I was gonna have Jade draw, but she's chewing on a toy. Tonight's winner is Linda Carpenter from Wisconsin. So congratulations, Linda. You are going to email hello@pupford.com and tell them what kind of treats you want. And I will email them as well and tell them that you won, and then they will send you out a free bag of treats. If you haven't used them before, they've got salmon, rabbit, beef liver, chicken, sweet potato, and now I think they have banana and blueberry, some treats. I actually haven't bought those yet. We tried some the last time I was down at Pupford train or filming some stuff. I haven't bought any. So Willow, your local trainer can do CGC. Yeah. I was replying to Kirsten because Kirsten was asking if I could do it. Virtually for her, and yeah, I can do it. So as long as they'll allow virtual, I can totally do it for you. Okay, you guys, thanks so much for joining, and I'll see you next Thursday night, probably 6, because I have a Zoom client at 4:30 to 5:30, so we'll start at 6 probably. And I'll try to. So Willow, this is for you. I will try to have a case study that we can work through, because every time you give a right answer, you get an extra name in the drawing. So the more things that you answer right, the more chances you have to get for the drawing. So, oh yeah, it's time change. We changed too. So yeah, that means that my sleep's going to be off for a month now again. Okay, well, thanks you guys. This was a good topic and stuff. And yeah, email me if you want that book. That's really good. I actually have a Tracy's favorites list that has like some really good recommended reading and stuff. But I can send you the name of the one I'm reading right now because it is so amazing. Like for the past week, I haven't been sleeping at night because I was really congested. And if I lay down, I can't breathe. And if I can't breathe, I can't sleep. So I would just read and stay up. So it's really good. I'm not done with it yet, but it's really good. Okay, so you guys have a good night and safe weekend, and I will see you all next week.